does feel like when you start to sort of exit the matrix, as you refer to it, that there's definitely a lot of resistance. So does it feel like, how long does that last? Like, it feels like it's very hard to like fight against the system sometimes. And is that still part of like the deprogramming, or is it always just going to feel like you're flowing in the opposite direction of everyone?
Did you want to start with that, or shall I?
No, let's just tune in, because it's a great question.
It's streaming through already. So
yeah, you start. Yep.
So it is against the flow. It is against, you know, the way that the sheep are being led to go, and they use all these brilliant techniques to keep the sheep entertained. Look pretty, this is exciting, come this way, this way. You know, I think even feminism was bloody created by the cabal, the powers that be, to, you know, to get women distracted in certain ways, and, you know, all the fight energy. And I mean, I've been one, don't you worry about that. But the balance, it's a masculine way to do it, which is hilarious. And so yeah, it's a fight when you have layers to move through, because it's not a fight when you flow with what you really want, what you're really excited about, and what brings you joy. The fight only comes if you allow the illusions, which is the matrix, to hold you back. If you allow the old beliefs to hold you back. If you allow the people in your life to tell you what's right, and that this is actually the way. See, everybody does it this way. This is very normal, so go this way. So yeah, it's only our lower minds and personality that experience that fight energy, that challenge, that going against, because the flow is very strong that way for everyone's personalities and lower minds. And so going upstream, it feels like you've got to fight your way through it. But in the end, like we say over and over again, via letting go, like really deeply getting into that very raw, naked place of letting go of what people think of you. Letting go and facing the fear of pure loneliness, facing the fear of not enough money, facing the fear of loss on any level. That fight can just drop away. And then you're like, oh, this is so good. Because that's where it's at. It's just really, when it's real, you can feel it, and you're lining up with your truth, and it really, the strings in your heart just say, yes, this is who I am. And then you go off and you're like, oh, this is not who I am, this is not who I am, but apparently I need to, this is who I am, let that go, this is who I am, yes. And it doesn't look like much to other people maybe, but this is who I am. I get to be who I am here. And so for me, I would let go of anything and have let go of everyone to be who I am, you know, and I'm willing to say anything to anyone, do anything to make sure I continue to do that. And if I lost everything, including we lost our security, our home, and anywhere to live, I know that we would be okay. I know that no matter what, the universe has our back. I mean, one of the beautiful sides is that our family loves nature, so we're good. It's a really nice area to say, well, okay, if everything is gone, we're still okay. We're even more than okay, because we're truly who we are. And that's where we love to come from, that, you know, so-called worst case scenario. If I had nothing and if I had nobody, I have myself, because I'm really lining up with who I am. And so the fight is the clutter in the personality, the clutter in the lower mind. And so working through all of that, you just got to get the willingness up to shift to that next level is getting rid of all of the areas where the personality just doesn't believe it's possible, where the personality has been so trained that you can't hurt people. If you make that move in your life, it's going to hurt other people. If you make that move in your life, you're going to be very lonely. If you make that move in your life, you're going to lose money. If you make that move in your life, blah, 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 blah. And that holds everybody back. It holds people back from so much. And I have felt it so often that I'm sick of feeling it. I really work not to feel it anymore. But the pain in humanity is so extreme because they're not being who they are, and they're staying in the flow because they think the fight is going to break them, or that it's not right because everything outside is telling them that it's not right. So it takes such a deep innate holding, and that's why we love the pillar so much, is staying in center and just holding. This is who I am. No matter what I see out here, this is who I am.
Yeah, and you're going to be guided by your spirit and your teams all the time, and you know this. The illusion, I think, that is connected to fourth density, because there's a lot of illusions there as well, is that it's this easy, blissful, flowy feeling, and when you arrive, you're there, and it's amazing. And part of that is true, but is it a fight to get there? Yeah, sometimes it is.
Yeah.
Have you got to be strong and courageous? Yeah, you do. Have you got to face all of your own darkness? Yeah, you do. Have you got to face everything everyone's going to throw at you? Yeah, you do. So then you're stuck between two worlds. Do I face all of this hardness to get this challenge to get to fourth density, or do I put up with the illusions and the crapola, as Opheana likes to call it, of 3D? Well, guess what? That's when it comes down to, why are you here? What's in your heart? What's your team telling you? You're not here to be part of 3D. 3D is leaving. It's changing. No matter how long it takes, it's going, it's gone, it's old. It doesn't work. It's not based on truth. So as these higher frequencies come in from source and from spirit, and because the earth is moving to a different part within the galaxy, you are going to be driven every moment of every day to make the changes to get yourself to that new place. It's kind of like you're in between two islands. I mean, are you going to swim back to the old one because the waves are intense, or you just got to keep going? Well, guess what? You just got to keep going, and you take it one wave at a time. And sometimes you surf a little on the waves and it feels cruisy, and other times it's hard, or might be a shark circling around and you're like, oh wow, hope he doesn't get my foot, etc. So you've got, we're not here sitting, you guys, telling you that it's easy all the time, but we can tell you one thing, that as you raise in your consciousness, it's going to be easier most of the time. But do we go through constant transitions every day, every week, every month? Yeah. Does time become strange and it's like you can't grasp it? Yeah. But it's also beautiful because you're coming into this life that you are here to live. And all of you guys have a role to a lot of other people that you're going to be beacons for. We are beacons for you guys, and you're going to be beacons for a lot of other people. If you don't turn your beacon on, all of those other people are going to miss out. So you're not doing it for them, but ultimately that is part of your mission, is to ignite them as well, awaken them. And this is how all of the starseeds, and thus past that all of humanity, gets awakened or awoken, whatever you want to call it. And that's how the collective consciousness shifts. But it's like, again, not to be cliche, but the movie The Matrix, where the guy steps out and he's like, just pop me back into that matrix and,
give me that steak.
Make me rich and make me an important person who has, sex and yummy food and yummy wine, and I'm good to go. But guess what? You can never forget. You can never forget, and that's why, you can think, well, why would I want to be on the ship with Neo, eating crappy, sloppy food every day and having to fight these battles? I mean, it's an extreme example of, but yeah, Aaron, this question is it sometimes hard? The magnetic pull of the matrix is strong. Why? because it's been built by so many billions of minds all the time, and it's continually reinforced. And so to make your way through into this new realm of frequency, because that's really what it is, you're going to be moving into a different frequency bandwidth of your timeline. So then more and more of your life is fourth density. We feel that most of our life now, if not all of it, is lived in fourth density, in 5D. So it doesn't mean you don't sometimes visit back to 3D for certain things, or there's connections that open up for wounds to be healed. So it's a transition. It's not today I'm in 3D and tomorrow I'm fully in 5D. It's a transition. And so take every step you need, one step at a time as guided. There really is no need to go back to the old island known as 3D. Why? Because you're too awake. And so can you handle all the stuff coming at you? Yeah. And is it cool when you make it through? And can you be proud of yourself? Yeah. Because you grow to be a stronger person. You grow to be the starseed that you already are. And you're a multidimensional being. You're not this flesh. You chose this vessel. You chose these lower energy bodies. You chose your personality, whether you're a really funny person or a really serious person or a good storyteller, or you're just loved by everyone, whatever your lower energy bodies are, that's what you use to get your spirit through. So they travel together. And so by doing it, there's so much that awaits you guys, because there's so much excitement. I mean, instant manifestation is faster and faster. All your needs are met, and you realize, well, what are my needs? And you realize your needs are very different than what you think they are. And so all of that changes and awaits you. The more and more you're raising your consciousness, more of your inner gifts open, more of your multidimensional gifts open, excitement awaits you. So the other island is so much better than the old island where you were controlled and where someone else decided how you would feel and how you would look and how you would be and which phone you would get and which computer you would get and what job you go to and what hours you travel and to what train you go and what and blah 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 blah, and how big your superannuation needs to be and what percentage your interest needs to grow, and can you feel it? It's just like,
yes, I can.
And so you want to pop through that, and that's what we're here to share with you guys, that you can live mostly in fourth density. It's a beautiful place to be. It's very harmonious. But will you still continue to be asked to change? And yeah, because you continue to raise in your ascension consciousness. But is it the way to travel? And does it make you really, really happy? Yes, it does. And so, is it hard? Is the magnetic pull strong? Yes, yes, yes. Are you going to have to face battles? Yes, yes, yes. Look at our video, How to Solve 3D Fight. Because you are going to have some battles with 3D. Choose them wisely. Choose to disengage when it's not relevant, and choose to really go there if you feel that it's necessary. Hold your ground. Truth, love, and light always wins out. Why? Because that's just the nature of how the universe expands. You know, and will you be opposed in your growth? Yes, you will. Will there be third party, as we call it, energies and programs in the field that are preloaded that will try to keep you where you are? Yes, they will. Yeah. But are you going to face that next wave? Yeah, you will. And then before you know it, Spirit hands you this cool boogie board or this cool surfboard, and you surf a couple of really cool waves, and you're even closer to that island. And then from there, you start to help others to navigate their way there as well. So that's how we're all going to get there. We're not going to all get there by not facing the next wave and quickly swimming back, because you're going to be very unhappy swimming back that way. In fact, I can pretty much guarantee you that all of you guys here are not even going to be able to swim back, because you just hate it. You'd absolutely hate it, and you wouldn't be truthful and honest with yourself, and Spirit keeps telling you you're not truthful, you're not honest with yourself, and Spirit is asking you to unpeel, asking you to open your heart more, asking you to be more braver, and asking you one thing that was mentioned to me before this chat as well, is to do the things when they are guided. There's no need anymore to wait for things. If you need to sell your house and move on, there's no need to wait. If you need to get out of a certain friend group, it's no time, no need to wait for everything to line up perfectly over the next 12 months. When you're guided, feel into it, allow Spirit to bring you the moment, or choose the moment and go for it. If you know your job is no longer right, start working on a transition plan for 3 to 6 months. It doesn't have to take 5 years though. If you're waiting for a bonus from work, this is just an example that we went through, and you only need to go another 6 weeks, but it's not going to happen, let it go.
Let it go.
Because guess what? All of that money stuff as well, It's all has to do with your needs are always met abundantly, and that doesn't mean skimping by, it means abundantly. But a lot of the things we think we need or have been programmed to need so that we're safe in retirement, so that you first work 40, I mean, the idea of it is very strange. You work 40 years, even in an own business.
When you're healthy and happy.
You work, and then at the end, when you're 65, you get to enjoy a retirement that's abundant. Well, it doesn't make sense because creation is in the now. So just think of it. It doesn't make sense. And if spirit is here guiding your life, doesn't it make sense that when you raise in frequency, you'll have access to receiving more easily? The only reason we don't receive more now is because we're blocking the flow. So as you unpack more of yourself, you will be able to anchor more of that abundance as well. So you do not need to be afraid that you or your kids or your friends are going to miss out, because your kids are with you as well. They're with you because they knew you would go to this next island, and they want to be with you. In fact, most of your kids are going to be at your frequency anyway, so they're ready to go with you. But sometimes they need some unpacking from the matrix too, especially if they've been here a certain amount of time, like maybe past 7 years or 10 years or 12 years. They need more unpacking. So let them have that journey as well. But be aligned to making the choices that are guided by your spirit.
Beautiful.
So just a small answer to that question.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. So there's a question that kind of ties into what we just talked about.
Yep.
And so as we move to 5D, it's easy to want to isolate myself.
Yes.
But the balance of our purpose here is that we want to show and demonstrate the truth, as in, like, we need to be out in the world, right? So how much do we know how to, like, show our light, and how much to retract into, like, this safe, isolated place?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Love this one. You want to go?
Yeah. Love it. So, you know, is it isolating, or is it choosing where your highest frequency environment is? You know, we've philosophized about this one so much, and we watch a lot of people, and you do see the higher frequency that people go, they less that they want to be around people, because, I mean, it's so funny, like, we find, you know, the just basic conversations, the chit chat between human beings, behavior, it's just like, so how's work, so how's the kids, so how, you know, we just literally, we can't do it. It's like, how do you do that again? You know, it's useless. And so so it looks as if you become isolated, etc., but you're choosing your environment, you're choosing your frequency. It's a choice to really hold your own frequency. And so if you have interactions with people of your frequency, then, you know, that's beautiful and you're open to it. You know, we transmit our frequency out more so than we sort of give and receive in a social sense, because in the end, socially, we just find that the gap became too much for us, because, you know, the willingness in us is if there's a discomfort in life, we look into it and say, well, where's the imbalance here, and line up. And then we line up, and then we look into, and then we line up. And so it's just non-stop growth. And if there's a bandwidth difference, you know, socially, it gets very uncomfortable. And so it's a choice in, well, it looks like it's isolated over here, or hermitage, living, you know, this life over here in more of a contemplation sort of beingness. And over here, it's you know, connecting with people, and, you know, you can sort of sit around and wait for them to catch up. But most people will take their time. It takes a lot. And so it's only the ones that are really, like, hitting it hard, that are really making the big steps, that can sort of stay with you on your bandwidth. And I know that you've got a really good crew in your area, which is really lovely to support. You know, the frequency is raising in your area. There's a it's kind of like in America, and especially around that the New York sort of zones, there's a more condensed amount of starseeds, you know, higher density starseeds. You know, we've done quite a bit of testing around the world, and we find all that stuff quite fascinating. I'm going on a bit of a tangent, but you know, like even twin flames that have come, there's a lot in America in certain zones that are doing the mission, that are doing that hardcore work. But we've come to a place where it's like we would rather be on our own than be in a situation where it looked as if we're not alone, it looks as if we're not isolated, but I don't feel connected because the frequencies are missing.
It's the analogy of you can be at a big party, a big gathering, be with a lot of friends, but still feel super lonely inside. You know, and we've worked through, as we've transmuted our own ascension consciousness and kept growing and growing, that's guided by our spirit. And we've moved through having a lot of social, a little bit less social, a little bit less social, and then pretty much no social. And for us, it was letting go of a loss of something we felt that we needed, but we don't know what the future holds for us, because when the world is ripe for social interaction at that same frequency level, all of a sudden it's there again. But for us, just like for all of you, we have to go through our own letting go process, and the fears of, but we need social, or what if we don't have a social group, or we love hanging out with people and chatting about spiritual stuff, but when the frequency bandwidth gets too big with the old friend groups, it doesn't work anymore. And so that's the same honesty you guys will need to have for yourself. But all of you will have a different journey. Like, for instance, Opheana said, Aaron, for you and your group there's a lot of people of the same bandwidth that can travel together. Our journey has been different, and more we've been guided that right now on Earth at this time, our role is much more as, and it's just a name, as a cosmic shaman, cosmic shamans, to transmit the connection to the multidimensional realms, really help people get to that fourth density world so that they can start their missions more deeply as well. That's our role now. And so there's more focus on that than there is on spending time socially. And would we still deeply love it? Yeah, because we're group conscious beings, you know. Like the angels and the archangels, they travel in group consciousness. I mean, they are one. And if you've ever heard a channel like, for instance, Darlanka Bashar, their entire society is fourth density, and they work in pure synchronism. So they're at the right time, at the right place, and all their social works like that. But where we are on Earth right now, it's not here yet. A lot of people are either just dipping their toe in from third density, and way over there they see fourth density, or they're halfway there and they're like, some of them are drowning. They're like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. And others are right on that moment where they just got a surfboard and they're surfing some cool waves and making headway. You know, they're moving through their ascension consciousness really fast. From what we've seen is people can move through hundreds of points in a year if they're in the zone, and if they're ready to just keep stripping back like wax from a candle, keep melting it off. Who are you really? Who are you really? Who are you really? Melt it off, get rid of the programs, melt it off, and then know when 3D draws you back in, because it will happen. Someone said before, the magnets are strong, the ties there are very strong. So for us, it was a letting go of an illusion that right now in every moment, if you don't have certain things in your life, like, let's say, if you don't have a relationship, if you don't have a house, if you don't have enough money, if you don't have a good job, if you don't have kids, if you don't have this, if you don't have that, then your life, your pie chart of life is not complete. But each one's pie chart will be different. For, as an example, maybe for you, Aaron, or people around you, you guys will get to travel this journey together to a certain degree, or a lot of it, and that's great. So just roll with that. For us, this has been our journey, and we really know from spirit, we're getting really comfortable in this role, because it's really what we're here to do. And then later maybe social will come in a different way again. So we really roll with that and invite you guys to do the same, because each of your paths will be very different. So Is it a worry as people transition? Yeah, they're worried and afraid of that. Is it good to face all of your fears and come back to who you really are? Yeah, and then it'll be as it is.
Yes.
You know, and you can have that need in your heart, but you just keep calling out for it, but ask it to be shown to you in the highest and manifest for you in the highest possible way. And it will come when the timing is right. I mean, for us, it might be years before we have social, or it might be 6 months, who knows, but we're just going to let it be. We're just going to let it unfold. And we are very extreme. We are very extreme. We are very, very ruthless sometimes. I'm not sure if ruthless is the right word. Relentless. Relentless is a word we've used recently, because when something is out of alignment within our family or in our relationship or within the work that we put out, we're very relentless in the sense of we're very clear with ourselves. Something is a bit off. We're too much in the doing energy. We're too much in the being energy. We're too much in the playful energy, which is more rare, by the way, because we're more often, for instance, overdoing. And then Spirit says, just
bring it back.
Bring it back and come back to that balance of all of those elements, because next to doing a mission, which feels very doing, achieve, your mission is also to be yourself here, to be happy here and exude that, and to be in balance with your masculine, your feminine, and your inner child. And then if you're raising a family, to do that within your family unit. And if you're in a large friend group with high frequency people, then to do that as a community. So it's going to be different for everyone, but in general, are there going to be less people as you raise in consciousness? For a moment, I think so, because as you move through the channel to the new island, there's not as many people ready and ripe to do that yet.
Yeah, and that's what it takes, you know, for us when we go out there into the world, into 3D, and do interact with people, and you know, and they're really living their 3D lives, and we can, you know, I mean, we're like little lasers. We just read their fields, and it's like, oh, don't look, I don't want to know all that stuff. I don't need to be taking that stuff in. And then we come home and we're in our temple space, in our sacred space, in our frequency. It's just so divine that when you go out to there and then you come back, you're like, there's just no other way you would want to do it. It's such blissful, aligned energy. It's just relief to be who we are. It's like, oh, I really love being who I am, and that's a really nice place to get. I really love us. Oh, I really love our kid. I love us. We say that sometimes, and I mean, it might sound up ourselves, but it's really not. It's just like we're just really happy with where we're at, you know, and it's about getting to that place and making your life so that you're happy with where you're at. And it reminds me of when I you know, left my business in a city, alternative healing business, and I was just, you know, out of a traumatic relationship, and I was transitioning again from all of that rah to wanting, you know, really coming back to myself. And I moved onto land from the city near the beach, and I was meditating all the time, and I was with my daughter, and I just really came to a place of peace, because that's all I craved. I just want peace. I just want peace. And this can be just something you just a feeling you want. I just want peace. And that's the carrots that you go for. You just go one step at a time. What do I really want? That's all it is. The transition to the next feeling. Okay, so I'm really craving that. I really need that. Just go with that. Just seriously, it can be that simple. I just want that. So anyway, I moved. I let go of everything. I had a large friend group. Let go of everybody. You know, still love everybody. Like seriously, it's so easy for me to love all of these people, but I can't be around them if they're not loving themselves, because I get to feel that. That's not fun for me, so I'm not going to do what's not fun. And so I just chose, and I just blissed out with my daughter, and it was one of the most amazing times, and just really realigned with myself. And I think I said it on the Twin Flame video recently, but I will repeat it because it's such a key. I will not be with anyone else in a relationship ever again unless they meet me exactly where I'm at. And we will not hang out, be in social contact with anyone unless they meet us where we're at. Because, to be honest, we kind of just hurt people because we just say, yeah, it's not working anymore. And so we just don't do that. We don't we don't enjoy watching people sit in their stuff. We don't enjoy watching people make the same decisions over and over again. And so it's not good for them, it's not good for us. And so we get to just really enjoy being us in our energy.
Yeah, and Spirit is mentioning as well for all of you guys, we're not sitting here saying this is always easy at all. We're not saying we're here and there's nothing left to do. It's, you don't arrive at fourth density. However, more and more percentage of your life do you live in that bandwidth, and we believe we live mostly in that bandwidth at the moment, and so that's where you guys are moving to as well if you so choose. We're not sitting here saying we're further along. We're not sitting here saying you can't do it, and we work very hard at this, and this is what it does take to move forward. You know, the waves keep coming, and some days they're big and some days they're cruisy, and you can make more headway, or it's time to just relax from the intense waves you've just had. And you don't need to feel sorry for yourself either that you're in intense waves, because everybody goes through their own waves. It's called initiations, and you can do it because you're such a powerful multidimensional being, and you came here to one of the roughest places in the universe, in the galaxy, Earth. Third density Earth. It's a rough place, especially if you come from fourth, fifth, or sixth density starseeds. You can imagine how it is there. Hallelujah. Oh, beautiful. You just, like, when you hear that music, you're like, oh wow, it's home, and everything is synchronistic, and you feel good about yourself all the time. But here you've got to deal with, most of you guys are either telepathic or empathic or have your inner senses open, so you feel the pain of the collective as well. So you've got to learn to shut yourself off while doing your mission, because it's super easy to get lost in the pain of the collective and just want to help and heal and heal and heal. I mean, just go on Facebook for 2 hours and you can get lost. You can get lost in any social media very quickly. You can get lost in thinking that's what you got to do. You got to, you know, you've invested in this business that you've started 2 years ago, and so you just got to see it through. Well, all of that we're challenging to you today with your presence and your teams to say, really, do I? Do I need to see it through? According to whom? And it's just so smart to hold on to my house because I've got a nice 100,000 equity built up in it, or 200,000, and it's just really smart to do it, and the market isn't right, and blah, 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 because it's all blah. And what's really real is your presence guidance that sees the entire roadmap, not the 3D programmed roadmap, the entire real roadmap that ever changes all the time. You know, like your GPS can reroute you if there's a blockage there, or if there's a traffic jam. Well, that's what your spirit does all the time. That's why you go through different flows. One week this seems like a brilliant idea, and then the next week it doesn't, because things have changed. So if you keep flowing with your guidance in your heart and your presence, even if you do it one step at a time and just commit to it, commit to your inner healing, commit to doing whatever modality you love. We always push EFT because it works for us, but you may not like it. You may think it's silly tapping on yourself. It doesn't matter to us what you choose, but choose something. And keep doing your meditations, keep having the time with your spirit, and keep facing the waves, because they're not going to go away. And I can tell you, going back to 3D land more deeply, it's not going to make you happy, because you're more of a slave, and you're facing less real universal truth. And you're here for a reason. You really are here for a mission. All of you guys are starseeds. Activate your mission and don't be afraid. And it's okay when it's really hard and you think, oh my God, my life is just going to explode and everything I'm doing is wrong. That's when you know you're making headway.
That's good.
And I know it sounds weird and it doesn't feel comfortable. We don't like the feeling either, but we know we're growing. We know we're
That's
moving
the
through
initiation
it.
wall,
You know,
yeah.
and sometimes, like the last week we had to sleep a lot. We don't know why, but we know there's intense energies and we're moving through yet another transition. I mean, for us, really, the question that was asked about social and do you more and more pull yourself back from society.
Well, I think it's transmitting as for your mission and your work.
For us, it's transmitting more from this place, so it's more relevant to us and others that we transmit from this place of high frequency than that we do more social, have a lower frequency, and then do our thing there. That's not our role. That's not what we chose. And it doesn't mean things aren't going to change, because we're going to have everything that our hearts desire in this life. But at this stage, you know, you're swimming between those two islands and worlds. And so it's okay that it's not easy. It's okay, and you can still do it. So
yeah. I'd just like to add, just to answer, make sure we answered the question correctly there, with the the connection with other people, because it's part of your mission, being out there in the world. If it feels right, then it's right. If you need to be within a group, then it's right. But if you don't want to be within a group, don't think, oh, I should be in this group so that I can make more connections, or I should be in that. You know, I mean, we do social media, but for us, it doesn't hurt us. We don't drown ourselves into social media. We don't actually use social media for ourselves, except for a giggle every now and then when you see those funny quotes. But to transmit, we use it as transmitting, because we don't want to take in that energy. And it's the same in social. We don't need to take in that social. We're fulfilled as we are, and it will be, an addition one day maybe, but we're okay if it never happens. We're okay if this is our role and this is our movement forward. We're willing, because we're really guided and we're really aligned with that. And so finding a place of always looking into, does it feel right? Does it feel right that I connect with these people? Oh, it's draining being around it. Well, change it so that you're only transmitting, change it so that it's more of a client role rather than a hanging out, friendship, giving advice role, or being in a social group, so that, some sort of networking.